Hello and welcome to Friends of the Force, a Star Wars podcast. I'm your host, Brad.
And I'm your host, Sarah.
And this week on the show, we are talking about San Diego Comic-Con, book news galore. And I'm happy to say we are finally freed of some pain, of the anxiety of waiting for more book announcements, because we got plenty to talk about today.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
We were like, you know what, Sarah and Brad, let's record an episode Monday night about the San Diego Comic-Con book news. We love the Acolyte. We love the High Republic. And then Monday morning came and it was like, bam, here's another book announcement. You guys wanted the greatest thing you've ever heard? Here it is. And so it's like Acolyte, High Republic, and the greatest thing I've ever heard? Holy moly. That's how I felt this morning, bouncing off the walls. Brad can attest to the fact that I took a couple selfies of me High School Musical jumping in joy. They will not be posted on the internet, but Brad knows that they exist.
For my eyes only. And that's okay. Sometimes that's how it's got to be for, reputation.
I looked a little silly, a little too silly to post to the public.
I was just sitting in my chair, like fist bumping the air over and over again. And eventually my arm got really tired and then I stopped.
Oh,
yeah.
It's a good workout though. Maybe you should fist bump on the other arm just to make sure you get
just
even.
To even them out. Yeah, I don't want one big shoulder and then one small shoulder.
That'd be a little embarrassing.
But let me tell you, Star Wars Publishing has two big gargantuan shoulders. It's been working out. It's been putting in the hours, getting the big guns, the big people, the authors. Holy freaking moly. We got so much to talk about.
Who would have thunk that we'd be sitting here like really though doing like a big news episode? We're not like a news podcast, you know? We're like a chat podcast about topics that aren't the news. But this all of this together called for a news podcast.
Right. We were like, we can't just tack this on to Temptation of the Force, or that's gonna be even
like
longer.
4-hour episode.
Yeah, we don't need that. Some of you might want that, but we don't need that personally as an editor of this said podcast. Holy.
Yeah. Also, we gotta eat.
We also gotta eat. Yeah, and sleep.
Like if we have to pause to eat a meal while we're in the middle of recording, that makes it even more difficult for Brad, the editor.
We're only 2 minutes into this podcast and we're already messing up words. Look at us. You think we can go after 4 hours? Ain't no way.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Here we are again. San Diego Comic-Con 2024.
Yeah.
Where do you want to start though? I guess we don't have to start there necessarily. I feel like I gave you dealer's choice on where you wanted to start this episode.
You did.
So what did you end up deciding?
You shouldn't give me the option. Okay, actually, before we recorded, I was like, let's talk about the new trilogy. But you know what? Let's talk about the High Republic first. Let's go in a little bit of chronological order and let's talk about the Acolyte first, because we still want the Acolyte to be renewed. Firstly, we're still on that path. Lucasfilm, don't think we forgot. So that's still important to us, but also we're so excited for our new High Republic stories. Also, I realize that there's going to be a huge shift in like the level of my excitement, because I'm probably going to be like giggling and like I'm going to become a lot faster talking and my pitch is going to become higher once we start talking about the other news. I just need to preface that like I'm not unexcited about the stuff we're about to talk about, but I know that my tone is gonna shift, so I just feel like I'm gonna do these books a disservice because I'm so particularly excited about the other books, but I'm here for these books too. Big hearts emojis from me. So I just want to preface that.
No, I feel the exact same way as you do, and also it's like that brain meme where it's like the 5 pictures of the brain that's slowly getting more and more like electrified and neurons firing and it's just super bright and then it's like shooting out beams from itself. Like that's us. All the stuff we're about to talk about is still part of that, but the Alexander Freed, Reign of the Empire stuff, that's like brain exploding. There is no brain left. It has exploded. It has left the building. I am just dead.
And the reason I say doing the Acolyte and High Republic stuff first is because I feel like the shift in tone going from like lower to higher and like slower talking to faster talking is perhaps a little less jarring than the other way around.
Facts.
We're genuinely excited about all of this. Seriously, we were talking before we hit record. Was like the book fans. We really do stay winning. Like we really do stay winning. We are out here winning. Like my shelf full of Star Wars books is every win I've ever cataloged. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, everything's a win.
Yeah, being a Star Wars book fan is the reaping and sowing me, and it's like reaping. Yes, more Star Wars books. Me looking at my bookshelf that has absolutely no more space. No, sewing, no. And hopefully none of these books we're talking about, but also hopefully have some con exclusive editions tied to,
oh my God,
perhaps Celebration, maybe some other things happening next year. So
no, you have to understand that, like,
yeah.
I fear so bad for the luggage I will be taking to Japan and the luggage I will be taking from Japan. I live in fear.
We're going to have a lot of author signings, let me tell you. So bring that extra suitcase.
Books are so heavy. Books are so heavy. Like, I can't bring all these books. Good thing photo cards are light. You know what I'm saying? Good things those are just little pieces of paper. But also, like, friendship bracelets, because we're getting on the friendship bracelet hype train. That's weight.
I can't wait for that.
If we're trading them, then we're getting the same amount back, theoretically, that we're given up. I don't know how we're gonna do it. I think I might bring like 3 outfits and find a laundromat, you know. Anyway.
Oh gosh. Okay, well let's dive into it. As a reminder, we'll talk through basically all the biggest announcements, at least to us personally, as well as some of the details, release dates, and kind of where our minds are at on some of these books. So first and foremost, let's talk about reference books, because you and I love Star Wars reference books.
Correct.
As evidenced by all of the Star Wars reference books that we own and continue to own and obsess over. So we got a Star Wars The Acolyte visual guide by Pablo Hidalgo coming in March 2025. And we also have The Art of the Acolyte Season 1, in parentheses, by Kristen Baver, coming next summer. And I think it's very important to note that it says Season 1, leaving the room open. You know,
officially says season 1.
It does. Yeah, it does say officially Season 1. So, you know, we're leaving the room open for potentially another edition of this book at some point when we get a Season 2 #renew the Acolyte. But
feels good.
Yeah. I was very excited about this because we haven't gotten an art book in forever. I mean, we got the High Republic art book, what was it, a year or two ago? But in terms of TV shows, I think our last one was Mando Season 2. Which was like 3 years ago.
Did Andor not get an art book?
Andor did not get one. Obi-Wan did not get one. Ahsoka did not get one. Book of Boba Fett did not get one. We have not gotten a TV show art book since Mando Season 2.
What? What? Wait. I mean, I it might sound a little foolish that I'm reacting in this way, but how did we not? Because I've lived throughout these many past years. How did we not get an Andor art book? Andor, my love. Andor, my cinematic beauty. Andor, my queen. Smoochies for Andor. Like, what?
I have fingers crossed for maybe like a Season 1 and 2 mega art book, which would be pretty cool, and I would accept that.
We deserve. And these artists, the artists who are creating all this beautiful art that goes into what we see on the screen, deserve for their beautiful work to be shown. I want it. Wait a second. Why? There's been an absence in my life, and it's the Andor art book. Anyway, Sarah, stop talking.
I have to believe that there's something else going on, because when we didn't get a Disney gallery, which RIP to those, we haven't gotten one of those in forever either, was like, where's the Andor one? And then we got the Andor steelbook with the behind the scenes features. So I gotta just believe, for my own sanity, that we're gonna get an art book for Andor at some point. It's too popular. It's too renowned by fans to not get one. But I was very happy to see the Acolyte getting one. We're gonna get, like, you know, designs and storyboards and artwork and character vehicles, all the sort of fun stuff that we want to look at, and especially Chimere Tooth Fairy art. Most importantly,
mask iterations. Mask iterations. Okay, mask iterations. Also, like, I'm gonna bet a whole 50 cents on the Case Wrap device showing up, just like as Sarah will not let it die.
There's a little footnote that says save for season 2.
Save for season 2. Yeah, and that one is the Visual Dictionary, yeah, by Pablo Hidalgo. The Art of the Acolyte by Kristen Baver. Of course, Kristen's done an art of before, so I have no doubts that that'll be excellent. Pablo is like the king of visual guide in universe in style encyclopedias and stuff, so that's gonna be excellent. The quality of the vibes is very good for these. I can't wait. I love the Acolyte. I can't wait for this.
Right, and we just got Pablo and Emily Shkukani's Dawn of Rebellion visual guide, which we had Emily on the podcast a couple of months ago. So that book was incredible. I have no doubt this will be, like you said, much of the same. And it's funny too, because thinking back to when Mandalorian had a visual guide that was supposed to come out and that got canceled.
Oh.
And now here we are finally getting a TV show visual guide.
Thank goodness.
Very, very exciting. And also the Art of book does have a foreword by Leslie Headland.
Heyo.
The High Republic Art of had a foreword by Kathleen Kennedy. So the forewords just keep winning, in my opinion. I think we're getting some good ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
So very excited to see what Leslie has to say in that book, but look out for those. But, in the essence of tie-in materials, we are now officially getting our first Star Wars TV tie-in novels. The first of their kind.
Yeah, buddy.
for our beloved Acolyte. And for some beloved characters by some beloved authors that we love.
That's fucking right. That's fucking right.
Sarah, which one do you want to start with? You do the honors of unveiling our first one for our listeners who might be unaware.
You know what? Let's talk about the yet untitled YA novel by our love Tessa Gratton. Because we love Tessa in this house. I mean, I have no less enthusiasm for Justina too, but this one's still untitled, so there's still a little bit of mystery, Ooh, what's it gonna be? So this one, can I read? Audience may have listened or read the synopsis before, but can I read the synopsis just for the vibes, Brad?
Please. Yes.
Great. While their Jedi masters clean up a political mess left behind by one of their own. Interesting. Jedi Padawan Jeki and her least favorite fellow Padawan Yord are drawn into a planet-wide coming-of-age ritual as featured guests. The first ritual goes well, but when the final event is interrupted, Jeki and Yord will have to use all of their abilities to work together to keep each other and their new friends safe from danger. And it's set 5 years before the Acolyte. Yord Horde rises again. The Jeki Jam rises again.
We are so back.
Let's fucking go. I can't wait for the dumb shit banter that's going to happen between these two characters.
As somebody who has loved Yord ever since we saw him at the Acolyte premiere,
yeah,
I have to say I feel so vindicated that we're getting more Yord content. Let alone Yord content I know will not end with Yord's demise, because we got some cushion here. We got 5 years of cushion. My boy is safe.
They have certifiable plot armor in this book.
He has so many years ahead of him of steamed clothes. And I will say, if he doesn't steam any clothes, which I trust Tessa to give us the steaming clothes scene, I would be disappointed if we didn't get one. But I think we're going to get one. I think we're going to get him. Trying to be, he's a Padawan, notably, right? And we know that he achieves knighthood. Osha is surprised by it in the Acolyte. She's like, you finally became a knight? So maybe whatever happens as part of this mission is what earns him his knighthood. Maybe, we'll see him trying to live up to his best ideals and be that true tryhard we know Yord to be. And so there's going to be a lot of clothes steaming throughout. But I love this. This is giving kind of Return of the Jedi when they arrive on Endor and there's rituals that the Ewoks are doing and they're in danger and they have to get out of that situation. So I kind of love this idea. It's very Star Warsy.
Do you know what it also reminded me of? Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
It's been a while since I've read that book.
That's a good book, but the whole thing is Leia's coming of age ceremony on Alderaan. So I feel very good vibes from this. I also am really curious about Who do we know who Yord's master is at all?
I don't think so.
I look forward to like learning more about Yord's master and then watching Soul and whoever this character is. Obviously I don't expect them to like feature super heavily in the book, but I'm very curious about what the political mess is. That is the inciting incident for for our heroes to go off on their own. So
Yeah, well, we do know it's been 6 years by the time of the Acolyte that Osha left the Order. This is 5 years before the Acolyte, so you kind of wonder, is it close enough where that political mess could be related to Osha potentially, or could it be something that happened in the wake of Osha leaving that maybe spurred some other, although political mess, that kind of begs the question of, is it going to be is it going to be truly political in the Republic Senate and the way that the Jedi are perceived within politics?
See, that's what I think, is that I think it's going to be like a Jedi and the galaxy sort of thing, Jedi and the Senate sort of thing, as opposed to like an internal Jedi issue. Just because we did get a hint of the politics in season 1, and that was something of the Acolyte, and that's something that I was like, I want more of this specifically, because this is really juicy. Like there's some history here.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna get plenty of that too in our other release here. If you're ready to talk about the other book here, so we have the Acolyte Wayseeker.
Wayseeker.
Okay. This is written by Justina Ireland. This is coming out May 6th, 2025. So 2 days after Star Wars Day.
That's
Happy
like
Star Wars Day.
Little treat.
Super nice. Also, the YA novel is coming out July 29th, if we didn't already mention it. So these are coming out 2 months apart. But this book is set 20 years before the Acolyte. Obviously, Vernestra is the key character of this. That's why it's titled Wayseeker. It's a Justina book. She was the one to introduce Vernestra Rwoh in the High Republic all those years ago with A Test of Courage. So the publisher summary reads, quote, Vernestra Rwoh has spent over a decade exploring the Outer Rim as a wayseeker, answering to no other authority but the Force itself. When a request from the Jedi Council orders her back to Coruscant, Vernestra initially refuses, feeling that her first priority should be to the beings she's already serving. But after Jedi Master Endara arrives to ask Vernestra's aid in person, Vernestra finds herself pulled back into Coruscant's complicated world of Republic politics and underworld crime. As the two delve further into their investigation, the lines between Jedi and Republic business blur. Vernestra must reconsider what it means to serve for light and life. This has everything. This has everything.
Okay. Where to start? Justina writing 15-year-old Vernestra and Justina writing 130-year-old Vernestra.
Feels good.
Feels good. Feels good. Feels right. I'm so excited about this, and I'm really also excited for Justina to be writing an adult novel.
Oh, right, because this is going to be her first for Star Wars, at least.
I think so.
Which, when we think of Out of the Shadows, that was the YA book from Phase 1 that she wrote. That book did the politics of Star Wars so well. I feel like that opened the door in so many ways. I mean, Rising Storm had a lot of that too, but I don't know. She tapped into something like so specific with characters like Xylan Graf and Staros. Like all the characters that she introduced in that book were just so intriguing. And so I feel like she has a really good opportunity here to set up why are the Jedi having political enemies by the time of the Acolyte. This is set 20 years before. So are we going to see a younger Senator Rayencourt, perhaps? You know, is he a senator by this point? Is he more of is he like a political aide? You know? Yeah. And so I want to see where that rivalry begins so that when we go back to watch the Acolyte, that scene between the two of these characters starts to mean so much else. And then if we go into a season 2 with that rivalry continued, I don't know, it's just going to be so excellent to start having a lot more context to some of these relationships and explore it in the book medium, which I think can go into a depth that sometimes TV shows don't have the capabilities to, just because of time constraints and episode constraints and all of that. Like, you can do so much with books.
Yeah. And also I think perspective is the main thing here. When you are doing politics, it's really like valuable when you're reading these books to get in the characters' brains, you know? And like that scene in episode 8 was so delicious and so meaty and so interesting. But like imagine if that scene word for word was in the book, and think about if we were in Vernestra's perspective, all the things she would be thinking that we would be getting to be reading too. And so that's what I think makes politics and these sort of tense situations where the tension isn't in a battle, in a fight, but is a little bit visible is really great. Think of Bloodline. Okay, thank you.
Yes. Oh gosh.
Thank you.
The napkin scene.
The napkin scene, but also just like the tension, like when Leia is in Ransom's office, and when we hear about what his office looks like and what she's thinking about based on who she is, you know, like it's really juicy, delicious. But can I also just say, like, has Vernestra spent multiple stints as a Wayseeker?
That was going to be my next question.
Because we know that she becomes a Wayseeker after the fall of Starlight, spends a bit of time doing that, and now she's off again. So she really is somebody who feels a lot of things about her place in the Jedi, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, and when you start to connect the dots to the Acolyte, because I think when we first watched the Acolyte, Vernestra felt very stoic. She felt a little cold, shouldery. And we know from interviews with Leslie that Vernestra's purpose is about protecting the institution.
Right.
She's got to protect the Jedi image. She takes certain actions throughout the show that really cement that, without getting too much in the spoilers for those who are still catching up potentially. But like, she is committed. So how do you go from somebody who is hesitant to return back to Coruscant and wants to refuse coming back to now somebody who is like, I will do whatever it takes to protect the image of the Jedi Order? And so like watching that transformation, I think will be a little bit tragic in some ways, because we know the Order is flawed. We know the Order doesn't exactly teach the best ideals in some sense. And we know that becoming a Wayseeker is a very noble mission, because you are trying to connect with the Force in a way that is separate from the Jedi, right? Like the Jedi are not the light. The light is separate from them, right? As Luke kind of puts it in Last Jedi. So
right.
It's going to be really interesting to see her reconsider what that phrase means.
To think that okay, I won't do it. Hubris. Anyway.
Come on, you got to say it now. You got to say it now.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm not
to say the light dies, or the Jedi die, the light dies is vanity.
It's vanity.
So good. So good.
Maybe I should go watch TLJ. It's been a minute. Anyway,
also noteworthy side note, Vernestra Rowe, we finally got a Black Series figure.
Right.
Very cool.
Right,
I did pre-order it. Can't wait.
I didn't pre-order it because I don't really have Black Series in my collection.
I started collecting Black Series. I'm like, hey, I'm going to stop collecting Funko Pops. Let me collect a different thing in plastic. And here we are, buying the entire Acolyte line in the hopes that it will renew season 2. I'm regretting certain choices, but
you really did say, let me buy a different thing in plastic.
Kelnaka is getting a Black Series figure. Might be a good birthday present
for me,
for you at some point.
Right. It can go on my Wookiee shrine.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Like if you're going to get a Black Series figure, like you feel like Kelnaka is going to be the one of a Wookiee. Mean,
if he doesn't have a plush or like I don't have any Black Series in my Wookiee shrine. So that'd be a good thing to add, because I already have 2 Funko Pops and I've got 2 big plushies. But I would accept a plushie of Kelnaka as well, to be really clear, because I've got Chrysanthemum as the 2022. I don't even know what year these things happened. The 2022.
Was that Celebration?
Star Wars Celebration.
Holy.
You're not helping me at all. Yeah, the Celebration exclusive, and then I have Lego Chewbacca.
No, I had a brain fart because I forgot that was Celebration. Didn't Travis, our listener Travis, get that for you? I think you picked it up at the shop.
Travis. I'm so appreciative. I love my Chrysanthemum. Thank you so much.
No, the Celebration store is all about who you know. It's like, honestly, hey, can you get this for me? I'll pay you back.
In general. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
What a time getting into that store at all. But also we should just like highlight a couple other things. Star Wars Outlaws is getting an art of book, which I mean, that cover looks gorgeous. So I look forward to seeing once the game comes out, kind of what the vibe is, and also the art book. Those are always beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And some comics stuff. Comics. Kevin Scott is going to continue the flagship comic for the High Republic. We're hyped. We love Kevin. His comics are great. Like nothing needs to be said. Battle of Jakku, Insurgency Rising.
Ooh. Why does everybody want to go back to Jakku?
Seriously.
We are doing it again. Yeah. I'm okay with it though.
Seems really interesting. We've gotten a couple different perspectives on the Battle of Jakku.
Seems like kind of like a Shattered Empire sort of vibe, which I really liked Shattered Empire as a comic series in those early 2015 days. Leading up to Force Awakens. That was a good time.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see them.
Those. Very sorry.
You know, now we're moving on from like the between Empire and Return of the Jedi time period into post Jedi. Right. I think that's a really cool time period. And I feel like if we're going to keep exploring Han, Luke, and Leia, comics and publishing books, all that stuff is where it should happen. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, my humblest opinion.
I do generally agree with you, actually. What a bold opinion. What a crazy one.
And it has been successful because we had Shadows of the Sith, and that was a really good book. So it's like, let's keep doing that with our core characters. Love that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Also, there's this incredible cover for the prequel trilogy graphic novel. It's so beautiful. Like, I have nothing to say. It's just really gorgeous. Padme, Dooku, Battle of the Heroes. Fuck yeah.
I kind of want it.
Well, you can get it on November 12th.
I'm considering it. Yeah, the cover alone with Padme is like selling me.
If I don't buy it myself, I certainly will request it for the library just so that my local area can enjoy it along with me. You know, the people will have it. I think is that everything from SDCC?
There's a couple. There's the Kelnaka one shot, which isn't news, but we got some inside pages that shows Kelnaka at the aftermath of the Starlight Beacon falling, talking to Elzar Mann on Irem. With Kelnaka's Padawan, who is unnamed at this point. That's pretty big.
Yep.
Also in the Kevin Scott series, which forgot to mention, Keeve Trennis teams up with Kelnaka. So like Kelnaka is like going to become
he's a player now. He's a player in the High Republic.
Player. Yeah. That's pretty sick.
A second. I'll stop. A second Wookiee Jedi?
I need to see the scene where Kelnaka and Buryaga have a conversation and they're just speaking in Shriwook and nobody knows what they're saying, but we know that they're saying some great, brilliant stuff.
Or maybe they're like R2D2 and maybe they're like cursing at each other. Not like at each other, but just like about the things that are going on around them. And our ears that understand basics aren't just catching on to the intricacies of their curses.
There's two other notable ones here. We are getting another Art of the High Republic Volume 2.
Why was that not on the dock, Brad?
From Kristen Baver, it was. There's a High Republic section if you scroll down to page 3 of 5.
That's so awkward. I didn't scroll down on the dock. I was just vibing up in the Acolyte
so
section.
hard on this. And by work so hard on it took me like 15 minutes, but it's okay.
You always do though, and I appreciate your hard work, even if I don't catch on to the organization of it. Yeah, buddy. Let's go. More High Republic art of. Get it in my eyeballs. Put it on my shelf. Let's go.
February 2025 from Abrams Books, and it's going to have also behind the scenes from both phases 2 and 3. So I would imagine this is the final volume, potentially, of the High Republic Art of series.
Well, until they announce 10 more High Republic books, because I'm waiting. I'm kidding. I just would like to say that it feels like February
2025.
It feels like I'm going to have a really good birthday in February.
Very true. Yeah.
They said Sarah she lives in Chicagoland. The weather's a bit ucky out there in February. So we're just going to sweeten the deal with some hecka good Star Wars books.
Yeah. Who needs a fire when you have Star Wars books? Because you can just warm yourself up with some of those. Don't light the books on fire. I'm not saying that.
No.
I'm saying consume the books with your eyeballs, thus warming your insides from the joys of publishing.
The joys of reading.
Yeah.
And you can do that next to the fire so you stay cozy and warm.
True. Like, yeah,
In
you can
the
still have the
frigid-
fire. Yeah. Like, don't
in the
freeze to
frigid
death.
February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're buying too many Star Wars books to where you can't afford to keep your gas on, thus not having any fire. Don't do that either. Would not recommend. Just
made a
enough
good
Star
point.
Wars books to keep the heat on, but also enough Star Wars books to keep the mind on. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Our last release here is The Edge of Balance Premonition by Daniel
Dun, dun,
Jose
dun.
Older. And that's coming out in April, which is a couple days before Celebration. So I know what I'm going to be reading on my 13-hour flight to Japan. And I know what you're going to be reading too, Sarah. So we can
The
record about
manga's
it.
going to take you like a half hour to read, and then you're going to be like, I have to bring this back from Japan now. And it's taken up a half a pound in my luggage.
True. Okay, I'll
gonna
probably
have to
read it
get-
before. Yeah.
You know what? We might have to pre-invest in some e-reader technology here, and not just like, oh, just bring your iPad, because you and I both know that our iPads are both old as heck and do not hold a charge.
No,
So
true. It's like a 20-minute
Maybe
charge.
we get some e-readers to make sure we can read all our Star Wars books on the way to and from Japan. And then we're saving weight in our luggage too, since we're not bringing 10 extra reading books on top of our signing books. Think about it. We can plan
No,
later.
that's a valid point. That's
what
a valid
the Google
point.
Doc is for.
We got to do some actual planning soon, by the way. Just a reminder to us. Put a pin in it.
Don't say that to me. I'm gonna literally explode. The less I think about it, the happier I am. It stresses me out.
No, I was talking to my wife about this. Like when London happened, it was like, oh, it's so far away. And then all of a sudden it's like, it's tomorrow. And I was like, holy crap, I did not prepare at all.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do that with Japan. And I'm scared. Mom, come pick me up. But
Yeah, that's how I
Edge of
feel, anyway.
Balance, Edge of Balance Premonition, excuse me. The summary is, as brave Jedi Knights fight to protect the Jedi Temple on Banshee in the battle against the Nile, Jedi Master Yoda must find a way to protect the younglings who call the planet home. But the fearsome Martian Rowe has other plans for the Jedi Master and those in his charge as he unleashes his most terrifying weapon against the champions of justice yet. Okay.
The Blight.
Listen, Daniel Jose Older Publishing Universe gave us a lot of Aslan Rel crumbs. He was the reason that we started guessing Aslan Rel was the hooded figure in Midnight Horizon. Do we feel like this manga is going to be just revelatory? What is the most terrifying weapon? Is it the Nameless? Or would
It's
they
the
have just
Blight. It's the
it's
Blight.
the Blight, right?
It's got to be the Blight. If you ask me personally, I'm just a girl. I'm just Sarah. You know, though I'm not Daniel Jose Older writing this book, so I don't really know.
Right. And my question is, like, is this pre Shadows of Starlight Yoda, or is this post Shadows of Starlight Yoda? Like, is Yoda already talking with Aslan Rel about things? Is this before that? So I have a lot of questions, but I just know that Daniel is going to deliver. And
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
No,
Edge of Balance
no
Volume
doubt.
2 was amazing. It was so good. So good. Yeah, I think there's been 3 so far, but
Yeah, there have been.
they all
three.
blur together. Yeah.
There's just been so many Star Warses.
Yeah.
The fact that we keep them even remotely separate at this point is crazy, considering how many of them we've read.
Oh gosh. The power of 3 compels us, Sarah. Which leads us to our final bit of news here that we're going to talk about for the rest of this here podcast. And I want to give you the honors. Tell the people what's happening.
This isn't a video podcast, guys, but I'm grinning and I am standing up and I'm just like posing excitedly. Okay. Whew. Okay. So hearing this news, I literally like started like maniacally giggling. And then I went to go tell my family and like I couldn't get it out because I was like, I would think about it and then I would like start giggling. Like this is Whew. This is maybe the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Okay. Sarah, skip past the emotions, say it. Okay. The Reign of the Empire trilogy. Ah! Stop.
Let's freaking
Oh my
go.
God.
Air horns.
Okay. Okay, people are gonna turn on. We were talking this morning and we were like, endless air horns, and I said nobody's gonna listen to the episode if we air horn for too long.
It's just 45 minutes of the air horn sound effect. Yeah.
Okay. What is the Reign of the Empire trilogy? You may ask. You're probably not asking, listener, but like rhetorically, you're asking. It's a trilogy of between obviously Rots and A New Hope, The Rise of the Empire, with okay, I can't believe I'm actually saying this out loud. Okay. With Mon Mothma, stop. Okay, Bail Organa, stop. Okay, Saw Gerrera, stop. Written by, okay. Okay.
This is why we saved this for last, by the way, listener. We made the right decision.
I'll get it out. Okay. Written by, okay, stop. Oh, this is the greatest thing ever happened. I can't believe I'm saying these words. Oh my God. Okay. Written by Alexander Freed. Okay. Rebecca Roanhorse and Fran Wild. Oh my God. Okay. I said all the things.
She got it out.
You guys have to understand. Honestly, if you've listened to a couple episodes of this podcast, you probably know my love for 1, the Alphabet Squadron trilogy, and 2, the Between Earth and Sky trilogy by Rebecca Roanhorse that starts with Black Sun. Everybody go read Black Sun. I beg of you. Go read Alphabet Squadron. I beg of you. When I tell you, these are like some of my very favorite things inside and outside of Star Wars. And then we're going to take a couple of these authors who I love, and Fran Wild, who is mostly new to me outside of the short story in the Fakpov book, and we're gonna have them write my favorite politicians, my favorite characters, Bail Organa, especially Bail Organa, and Mon Mothma, and Saw Gerrera. Are you kidding me?
No, like I share in the sentiment that this is like probably like one of the top 10 greatest things that ever happened in my life. Like you and I. For so long, it's been again. We love the Alphabet Squadron trilogy. Shadowfall got us through the first year of the pandemic, and then Victory's
Also
Price
scarred us,
sealed
but, like,
the deal and just emotionally ruined us for the better.
No. Victory's Price emotionally fixed me. Like
Yes.
I was emotionally healed by that book. It was 2 a.m. and I was on the ground in the fetal position. After texting you like 4 hours prior and being like, well, I'm only going to read about till page like 250 tonight. And then I'm going to crank some more tomorrow and then we'll be able to record by this weekend. And there I was 4 hours later in a freaking ball on the floor. It was everything I could ever have asked for. Like the book, I live for it.
Yeah. Oh gosh, 3 years we've been waiting for Alexander Freed. Alexander Freed has been somewhere in the world. I would imagine in the local area of San Francisco, because I think that's where he lives. He's been out in the redwood forest in a cabin, just
life.
cranking out. You know that gif of like the person writing and the pen's on fire? That's been him for the last 3 years. He's been cooking something up, and now he's out of his cabin. He's like, guess what? Boom, drops manuscript on our friend Tom Holler's table at Penguin Random House and is like, here you go, buddy.
He goes there. He goes to his desk in person, of course.
Right. Yeah, no, he flies to New York and drops it at the Penguin Random House headquarters. Like, here you go. Give this to Tom.
Yeah.
See you later. See you in another 5 years.
Because we all know that's how Star Wars books work. Right. This is all very true facts, obviously.
Yes, definitely. This is how publishing works. But no, in all seriousness, though, you and I have speculated, would Freed join the High Republic at some point and maybe like write a Republic Defense Coalition story. And this is even greater than I could have ever imagined. I think, knowing that Freed has written Twilight Company, which is incredible, and you still have to read, by the way. Twilight Company is very, very, very good.
True. Don't expose me like that on the pod, but it's true.
The Rogue One novelization, which I think most recently in a Star Wars Insider, he said that his favorite part about writing that book was the Mon Mothma journal entries. So
God, they're so good. That's such a good novelization too. It's me sobbing.
And then writing the Fakpov short story Contingency Plan in 2017, which Fran Wild did a follow-up to called No Contingency in the most recent Fakpov from last year. So those two heavy hitters coming in. Rebecca Roanhorse, Resistance Reborn is like one of my favorite Star Wars novels. It brought together, like, it was basically the Avengers post Last Jedi.
Ransom's in that book.
Ransom Casterfo, like Iden Versio is in that one too. Or no, Kay Versio, right? Yeah. I love that book so much. And so just these three is so special. It's so special. So book 1 coming out February 2025 from Freed is called The Mask of Fear.
This is my birthday present.
Yeah, happy birthday, Sarah. February 25th, so a couple days.
So if anybody wants to wish me a birthday on the 21st, I'm not going to let Brad talk. Nope. If anybody wants to wish me my birthday on the 21st of February with a copy of this book, that'd be great. If I have 6 copies of this book by the time that the book comes out,
that's okay.
Literally not a single complaint from me.
This book title
Brad,
is...
now you're allowed to talk.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Here for you.
All right, I'm back, baby. The Mask of Fear, inspired by Nemic's quote from Andor. Oppression is the mask of fear. So I think that's incredible. One. It's important to call out, though, that these books are not a direct Andor tie-in. It's important to say that. However, they're of the same spirit and tone. Tom Holler had tweeted out that the purpose was, quote, to tell stories with the same intent, specificity, sense of place in people, and saying something real that Andor does, end quote. And I think that's like probably the best way to describe it is, again, it's just that kind of like that same spirit of Andor, although not a direct tie-in. But book 2 by Rebecca comes out spring 2026, and then book 3 comes out in spring of 2027. So we're locked in for the next... Sarah, we keep extending out the time that we're going to do this podcast together, jokingly. We got to sign another 3-year contract here, 2 or 3-year contract. Because now, now we're pushing out to spring 2027. And then guess what's also that year? 10th anniversary of Last Jedi's 2027 also. So you're here for
2028 though. We gotta call it quits. We're going, but we gotta celebrate TLJ 10 and book 3 by Fran Wild for sure. But then after that, we got to be over. I am not reassigning this contract. We are disbanding. We can make a great disbandment song, like all the good K-pop groups do when they disband. Like, here's our song that we're disbanding with, and bye, you'll never see us again.
We're going to make a music video. Are we going to make a music video as our final send off? Like many years from now? Do you
remember when we said we were going to make like a really jokey music video of a Scarif beach party? That should be our disbandment song.
No, 100%.
Actually,
no.
We should still do that.
It.
We should still do that.
No, I actually straight up think when this podcast ever comes to a close, that's the last thing we ever publish. No notes. No notes.
Blow up the beach.
I fly out to Chicago and we record that thing.
Yeah.
No, you heard it here first, folks. Exclusive.
So, guys, you never want to see that if you want to hear it, have us continue to talk to each other.
But listen, we're not going anywhere. This is going to be 3 years, or 2 years, 3 years from now, but a 2-year journey that we're going on. 3 books.
Boy, oh boy.
I'm so freaking excited. I want to do jumping jacks.
I felt like I was bouncing off the walls when I heard this. Okay. But in all seriousness, though, when I realized and I went, spring 2027, book 3, I went, I'm going to be so old, practically in the old folks' home. And then I realized that that's like a normal process of series coming out is like 1 a year. I think we've been a little spoiled by the High Republic, in which we read like 9 books from the same series in a single year in 2021.
Every year, yeah. Oh my gosh. No, it'll be nice to kind of space these out. It will feel like an event, right, when these things come out every year. And I think that's the most exciting part. But let's read the Mask of Fear logline here.
Wait, before you read the logline, do you realize that we're going to get this book, The Mask of Fear, and then we're going to get the end of the High Republic, Phase 3, but at the same time, we're going to get Wayseeker. Like, do you realize?
And Andor season 2.
I mean, we don't have dates on that yet, but we imagine at this point.
Probably spring/summer.
Are we going to be like cooking next year? Like,
I think so.
Are we going to be like in our element and be like walking around like nobody can stop me? Star Wars is exactly my thing right now.
No, I think 2025 is like our year. Kind of like how 2022 was kind of our year. Like we really cooked in 2022.
2019 was also like just, I think, a really good Star Wars year. It kind of, for us, ended on a tough note, but like I felt
every
like
3 years.
it's almost like that. Well, it's like poetry. It rhymes. The original trilogy came out once 77, 80, 83.
Oh, you're right.
I know.
All right, so it's all downhill between 2025 and 2028.
Yep. But like that's George coming through. That's the spirit. I mean, George is still with us, of course, but like that's the spirit of George's influence on the Star Wars franchise to this day.
Oh my gosh.
Sarah, shut up.
Very alive George is here to stay.
He's just like not participating in the Star Wars. So what I'm saying is like his influence of the actual production of the Star War continues. Okay. I hope that George is having a great day today.
Right. George, I hope you're a regular listener of the show here, and I hope you're enjoying your day currently as you listen to this discussion with your white shoes, sneakers, and your flannel with your jeans. And I love you.
I mean, a legendary look. Nothing but respect.
So the Mask of Fear logline reads, with one speech and thunderous applause, Chancellor Palpatine brought the era of the Republic crashing down. In its place rose the Galactic Empire. Across the galaxy, people rejoiced and celebrated the end to war and the promises of tomorrow. But that tomorrow was a lie. Instead, the galaxy became twisted by the cruelty and fear of the Emperor's rule. During that terrifying first year of tyranny, Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera, and Bail Organa faced the encroaching darkness. One day, they will be the three architects of the Rebel Alliance, but first, each must find purpose and direction in a changing galaxy while harboring their own secrets, fears, hopes for a future that may never come unless they act. And a future that may never come makes me think heavily of, I burn myself for a future I may never see, or sunrise I'll never see.
I've made my mind a sunless space. I share my dreams with ghosts.
This is it. This is the essence of this book. And I love too that the log line mentions people rejoicing and celebrating the end of war. I just started reading the rise and fall of the Galactic Empire today, and oh my God, this is like a great precursor to this trilogy because Dr. Chris Kemshaw did such an amazing job with this book, and I'm having just like I'm obsessed with it. But like noting the fact that people like gave over the democracy because of that promise of safety and that promise to a never-ending war that touched so many people's lives in the most horrific ways. And so it's going to be so interesting through these novels to, especially this first book, which takes place in year one of the Empire. And each book kind of jumps through time similar to House of the Dragon. At least that's what Tom compared it to in one of his tweets. But it'll be so exciting to see just how people grapple with that reality of like, oh, we gave up our freedoms for the end of war, but now look at the consequences of that and look at the reality of the situation. And how do we now turn that feeling of safety, which has now become fear, into the urge to create and fight back and create resistance?
I am truly so excited to see how this all plays out from these like super, super talented authors. And one thing that Tom clarified to me in a tweet, because I tweeted very fast and excitedly, and he was like, hold on right there, don't spread misinfo. At least that's what I imagine he was doing in his head. He said that Mon, Bail, and Saw will all kind of play equal part in each of the books. It's just Mon that's getting the cover on this one. So I think it'll be really easy or really interesting in every book in this trilogy to see the differences in perspective and see how the Empire like affects each of them differently.
Totally. And also a bunch of new characters too that we're going to have throughout each of the books who are going to grow and evolve and kind of become those freedom fighters for the rebellion, which is so exciting. And maybe some of those characters will, play pivotal roles in some of the events to come. And so good. So good.
It's so delicious. It's so delicious. And I'm not sure I can really say it better. Because like my thoughts are all so incoherent. Like
so scrambled. How long do you think we go on the Mask of Fear podcast wise? I'm actually concerned.
245. Like there's no way we don't. It's freed. Like it's freed. Like the man has such a specific and like what's incisive like writing style. It's so it's so delicious. Like I hang on his every word. I love the way that he writes character, and I have no doubt that we will just dissect the shit out of it.
I'm thinking like 3+ hours. I think we cracked the 3-hour mark. Yeah.
2:45.
Okay. So you're taking the under, I'm taking the over. We
Right.
will come back to that in February/March of next year.
I'm only saying under because we do get a point where I think we get a little tired and we want to eat, you know?
By the way, we do got to get that book discussion out prior to Japan, one, for our own sanity, but also we got to provide the people with some entertainment on their flight. You know, this is free. We're not going to be charging you. We're not going to be nickel and diming you for podcasting.
Right.
We're not going to charge you $6.99 for the Wi-Fi. Oh, also it's going to cost $4.99 for the movie. No, you're getting this for free.
We're not doing a watcher out here. We're not moving to a streaming service that you got to pay for.
Wow, no, that is a really deep cut.
Yeah. We yap just to yap.
Theoretically, depending on where you're flying from, you could listen to the audiobook of this and then our podcast and still have like 30 minutes left on your flight.
That's funny. Maybe they don't do that.
Yeah, you should sleep, listener, if you're going to Japan. Please sleep.
But also I certainly don't value my voice that highly enough that like
well, we're not recording the audiobook.
Immediately after you finish the audiobook or the book, listen to me. Like,
listen to the two most annoying people you've ever met yap about the book you just listened to for 2 hours.
You know, I'm one of those people that's like, once the thing ends, like once the actual media ends, I'm like, okay, sometimes I need to go sit with it for a few days. Or like, this is a deep Sarah cut, but like in high school, we went on a choir trip to New York and we went to go see Les Miserables on Broadway. And I had seen the show before. I know it well, but like that was, you know, it was a Broadway show. And I kind of just wanted to like go home and be like, oh, that was a good time. And we went on like, cause it was like a choir trip, it was organized with there were a bunch of different choirs or whatever. We went on a party boat and like a nighttime cruise. And I literally sat in a corner for most of the time because I was like so overwhelmed from having seen this beautiful musical. And also you couldn't get out of Brad's like, I'm cutting this, Sarah. Brad's like, I couldn't get out of the music because it was blasting everywhere indoors. And so I sat in a corner when it was still really loud, but outdoors it was like 35 degrees. And so you really couldn't go outside. Anyway, that's the story. My point being is like, sometimes you just watch something or listen to something or read something that's so great that you want to sit with it. And you don't want anything else except to process and enjoy and simmer on the thing that you just read or watched or whatever. Anyway,
I feel like we're going to be doing that with this book.
That's the moral of the story that she just went on a 3-minute yap about.
No, but you're right. I mean, yeah, I think we're so quick to consume after shows and you know, we go on Twitter after we watch something and we formulate an opinion that sometimes isn't necessarily influenced by what we actually think, but by what others think. And sometimes it's just nice to sit with your own thoughts and form your own opinion before kind of seeing what everybody else is saying. So no, I get that. I'm kind of with you there. There's a lot of value in that and forming your own opinion. Did you know?
I didn't know. Thank you so much for informing me. I am just a girl after all.
Which is why we have a podcast with opinions. Sarah, there's a great quote here from Alexander Freed that you have your mouse over. And so I feel like you are eager to talk about it. And it's just great to hear from Alexander out of his cabin. I'm just, for legal reasons, that's a joke. I don't know if he owns a cabin. I don't know if he sits in a cabin throughout the year writing the next great American novel, but you know, that's just how I imagine the elusive figure in the brilliant mind of Alexander Freed. He's just in a cabin. He's the Mark Twain of our generation. He is, you know, he's writing the next.
He's really just writing a bunch of video games. You know, I mean, he's so busy writing like video games and role playing games and stuff like that. It's so cool. Like,
I act like he's Bigfoot as if like we've never actually seen him and we only have like one black and white photo of him taken like 20 years ago. Like we've had him on the podcast twice. So like he's real. He's a person. He wakes up just like the rest of us.
We saw him in a panel, or at least I did. I don't know if you were there, probably, but like he said that he doesn't allow for a lot of spontaneity. He writes a very specific in detailed outline, and then he just goes from there. And that's when I was like, that's my guy. I love this guy. He's a great writer, and I find his method fascinating. Anyway,
I love him. I love him so much. I'm so happy he's back.
he's great. He's great.
Anyways,
okay, let's read this quote from him. I'm enormously excited to be part of this project and explore an era of Star Wars especially rich with the nuanced stories of ordinary citizens, people living inside the machinery of the Empire, still figuring out what's happened to their government, and in violent disagreement over the ideas of democracy, resistance, revolution, and complicity. It's a chance to write a political thriller and a spy drama and sweeping historical epic all at once, as well as spotlight Mon Mothma, a character I've been passionate about for ages. I can only hope the end result does justice to the grand themes of the prequel films and manages a similar blend of timelessness and relevance. Stop it right there. We literally don't need to have a conversation on this quote.
Nothing.
We literally
nothing
don't.
needs to be said.
Okay, let's move on.
We do not pod-splain Alexander Freed quotes here.
Like, the answer to all of that quote is like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's go, King. Let's go.
I do want to point out, though, like those 4 ideas: democracy, resistance, revolution, complicity. Complicity being a really, really interesting idea in the age of the Empire in year 1 specifically. Oh God, I just want to pick that apart, those 4 ideas. And I feel like a lot of our conversation of this book will kind of center around those 4 points. I'm imagining, totally. So can't wait.
And I've also been saying like Bail Organa political thriller for years. So the fact that we're kind of getting all of these things with these 3 characters in these books, chef's kiss. You got me. I'm in.
Just a quick shout out. Marco Manev created the book cover for The Mask of Fear, and notably Mark did all the weekly posters for the Acolyte that came out every single week.
For real?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Oh shit. That's so cool.
So it was said that the cover was meant to evoke kind of the enormity of the Empire, which like I love that smallness of Mothma there with the light shining on her, right? Amidst the dark Senate chambers. So it's just like, it's that, you know what, Sarah? You know what?
Yes, Brad.
You know what? Holy moly. Are you looking at the cover right now?
I am, thank you.
Tell me the light around Mon Mothma doesn't look like a flame. Doesn't look like the candle, like a flame on a candle.
You could say.
Tell me that's not a direct reference to the Rotz novelization. One lone candle
can ignite the stars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't you love it when Star Wars is the Rotz novelization? Me saying this 2 episodes in a row.
Which, speaking of the Rotz novel too, we did get confirmation book 1's also going to dive into the Delegation of 2000 and Padme's legacy, which like,
fuck yeah,
that goes back to that episode 3 deleted scene and, is explored in the novelization. So it's going to be really cool to see not only the building of resistance around these 3 key characters, but also the footprints that Padme left behind, kind of setting some of that foundation with them. And that she's not forgotten despite her tragic passing. And we often want like more Padme acknowledgement, like give us Padme, she was alive, like she did important things. And so this is so cool that book's going to acknowledge that at least in some capacity.
Can I make a nitpicky note?
Sure.
Okay. So do you own the Sarah J. Maas books, House of Earth and Blood or?
I do not. No.
Okay. But everybody calls the first one Crescent City, right? Like they're the Crescent City books. But it's because Crescent City is really big text on the cover and House of Earth and Blood or whatever it is really small text. And I wonder if this will like be colloquially called Reign of Empire until the second book comes out.
Oh, because the Mask of Fear is like smaller font?
Yes.
Yeah, trilogies are interesting because I think the Thrawn books were kind of the same way, where it was like Thrawn Ascendancy and big text, and then it's smaller text, Chaos Rising and Greater Good and Lesser Evil. So yeah, that is interesting. I don't work in book marketing,
Neither do
so I would love to know more about the choice behind font sizes on covers. That's actually really an interesting point.
That being said, though, I really like the design on this cover and the text design because it all feels very balanced and centered across like the whole cover. Like it's satisfying to look at.
Yeah, and also the color scheme too, like the Empire colors with the white, red, and black.
Mm-hmm. It's good. It's good. I feel good about it overall.
I really would like a
art.
collector's edition
Cool.
of this book. Can we do out of print again? Out of print editions? Whatever happened to those?
I would like to spend my $50 on a single book. Please. I'm so serious.
Get my Bail Organa socks.
Here's the deal. When they did the socks, those things are they're built for adult men, and I am a small adult woman. And I could never wear those socks. So if they're going to do socks, they better give me multiple sizes of socks.
I would love a tote bag.
Dude, that Rising Storm tote bag, I live for that tote bag.
I don't think we have anything else more to say about this. We had to do an emergency pod session. We were too over the moon about this announcement. The announcements over the weekend, plus the bonus surprise announcement today, just like changing all of our plans also. It's like, great. I love books. I love books so much.
I love books. I've been pondering buying another shelf for my Star Wars books. Like my bookshelves here in my office are a lot of K-pop and a lot of my general book collection. But my room, I have it's literally top to bottom Star Wars. And it's not going to accommodate many more books in its current form. And so I think I'm going to have to buy another bookshelf just for more Star Wars books.
I need another one too, but there's a door where I would put my fourth bookshelf.
You literally do not have room in your office.
Yeah. Me when my house is on fire and I'm like, I can't escape. Star Wars books are blocking my path.
You're going to have to take some things like off your walls in order to put a bookcase in front of it.
Oh, well, figure it out.
Tough.
But thank you, listener, for tuning in to this episode. We have so much more podcasts to come. Speaking of books, we'll be doing a Temptation of the Force book discussion very, very soon. It's coming. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. But you can find all of our newest show updates on all of our socials across Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. So check us out there and leave a review and subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. Helps other folks find the show. Let us know what you think. And again, subscribe because we have so many more book discussions yet to come. We've really pivoted into the book space. And it was kind of a smart decision.
We keep saying that even though it's solidly been like 3-4 years since we've done that.
Yeah, no, it's just, days and weekends like this just make you feel like we did a good thing, Sarah.
Right.
Books.
When we said, oh, we're depressed, let's talk about books in 2020. Yeah. Anyway.
Thank you, publishing.
Absolutely. Thank you also to our patrons who help keep the lights on. So thank you to Brian, Ben, Cheryl, Clay, David, Emma, Jennifer, Katie, Knights of Ren, Krista, Leanne, Logan, Lucy, Lindsay, Matthew, Nathan, Nicole, Rob, Ruth, Santa, Skytalkers, Tom, and Travis for your support. We are very grateful and so grateful to everybody who's taken the time out of their day to listen to us yap. That's wild, but we appreciate you joining the conversation and being a friend of the Force. So stay hydrated, stay well.
Absolutely. Thank you all again for listening. And until next time, may the Force be with you always.
Bye-bye.